Today I'm gonna be making a paleo sweet and sour chicken. So chicken breast. You gotta cut them into like inch squares. I'll show you guys how right now. You have your whole chicken breast. I already cleaned up all the fat, and you're gonna slice it in half, like so. All the way through, and then you start cutting. These I'm gonna leave alone because they're pretty good size, but then here I usually with the bottom you only need to do once actually, but once you start getting to the top where the chicken breast gets thicker, you have to start cutting. I usually do 3. It gives me the perfect size of chicken that I need for this. This recipe is for 1 pound of chicken, so 1 whole chicken breast, but because my husband eats a lot due to him powerlifting, I usually cook with 2 chicken breasts, but you get gist of it. Just cut it in half and then dice the chicken into little squares like so. I already have my pan heating up on medium heat, and this recipe requires 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, but because I do cook with gluten-free now, I went and I grabbed liquid aminos. You can find these as coconut aminos as well. This is a very great alternative to soy sauce, but they do come, it is low sodium, so I would recommend you add some salt so that it can get some salty flavor to it. I mean, it's all up to you guys, but this is a very good alternative to it and very healthy as well. So I have the pan already on medium heat, like I said, so I'm gonna start cooking it, guys. It's gonna get so messy because it's so hard to record with one hand, but 2 tablespoons of the liquid aminos or your soy sauce, whichever you prefer, but this is a paleo, so remember, healthy. So we got 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. We have 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. We have 1/2 cup of sugar. You could also do coconut sugar, way healthier. We got 1/4 cup of ketchup. This is gluten-free ketchup. And then we're gonna stir this until it boils. I actually forgot to tell you, you also need 1/4 cup of chicken broth. So I had to improvise because I don't have a Ziploc bag, but you beat an egg, and then once you have it beat, you throw it into a Ziploc bag with all the chicken and you mix it in there. And then once you have the egg all in there, you're going to throw in 1/2 cup of cornstarch and then mix it in well. So then you throw your 1/2 cup of cornstarch and you make sure it gets mixed in there. But make sure you buy a Ziploc bag, not like me. So it's going to look all pasty like this, which is going to help the sauce adhere to the chicken. To make the sauce, I recommend you use a little saucepan. I accidentally used the big one. I'm going to cook the whole meal in, so don't be like me. But once you have this ready to go, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil to your pan. And this is all going to be cooked in medium heat. And I didn't care to clean this up because eventually I'm going to pour the sauce into the same pan. So it doesn't make a difference. But wait till the oil gets hot, and then you're going to throw in the chicken in there. Once your oil is hot, add your chicken, and then you're going to leave it on here until the coating gets a little crisp. You cook it through though, so about a few minutes. FYI though, if you are not a fan of vinegar, this is not the meal for you, because once this starts to boil with 1/4 cup of vinegar, your whole house will smell like it. So as you guys can see, the egg and the cornstarch are starting to brown. The chicken is not fully cooked yet because we're going to let the sauce simmer with the chicken. So we're just going to throw a couple of pineapples and then a whole red pepper chopped. Mix in the pineapple and the pepper, and you're going to let it saute until the chicken starts to fully brown. Okay, so my chicken is cooked all the way through now, so I'm just going to throw in that sauce that we were simmering in the beginning and then mix it in. And then you're going to leave it to cook on low heat until the chicken absorbs all that sauce that we just poured in there. And then once it's absorbed, you're all done. You can garnish this with the stalks of green onions. Just chop them really thinly. And it's all ready to eat. Ta-da! So we went out to do a family event, so I wasn't... Oh, I just spilled the soy sauce, you guys. Anyway, we left to do a family event, so I wasn't able to finish cooking. So I'm going to just post the final recipe of quinoa. So stay tuned while I clean that mess up right there. So the trick with quinoa, for it to come out good, you have to know how to cook it. It took me a few tries to get this right. Quinoa is a pseudo grain, so it's a seed. You guys have no idea how packed of protein these little things are. So I'm going to teach you how to do it. It's really quick. The only thing is that because I'm going to make it into like fried rice style, it's going to take a total of 30 minutes. But just cooking this plain, it takes about 15. I'm going to rinse it out because you have to take off. They come with like a little bit of wax. So when you rinse it out, you take it off. And then you're going to put it in the pan. And I'll just show you instead of telling you. So I'm going to let it fill up with water. And then I'm going to just move it around. I usually do this twice. I will play around with it, I guess, so I can get off all that little wax I told you guys about. And then after a little while, I will dump the water and then re-rinse it again just to make sure it all came off. Usually I grab a very fine sifter so the seeds don't fit through there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump out all the water. Try to do it carefully so you don't throw all the seeds out. So I try to get as much of it out as possible. See, I'm not getting all of it out. I'm so scared to drop it. And then once the majority of the water is out, I will do it one more time just to make sure that it's all good and ready to go. 1 cup of quinoa is enough for my family. It's actually a lot. You'll see when I'm done with it. So generally speaking, the way to go about quinoa is if you do 1 cup of quinoa, you do 1.5 cups of water. And you can actually use chicken broth if you don't want to make it into fried quinoa like I'm going to do so. So if you do the chicken broth and you cook it like that, the quinoa is going to suck up this water. So it's like cooking regular rice. Just with the stock, it'll be perfect for you to consume like that. But I want to make this into a fried quinoa, so I'll show you the recipe for that. But with this, we're just going to leave it on here for about maybe like medium to low heat for about 15 minutes until it boils. And then once it's there, I'll show you guys the next step. Meanwhile, the first step of the quinoa is cooking. You can start getting this ready if you want to do the fried quinoa. You're going to do a whole carrot, and you're going to chop it into little pieces. You're going to do 1/2 cup of cabbage. You're going to do 1/2 cup of broccoli. I chopped it up pretty finely. And then it's up to you. You can do 1 or 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I went with 1 because I'm not a big fan of soy sauce, to be honest. And just 1 tablespoon for me is enough, but it's all up to your taste. You're also going to need 3 eggs. Don't mind the onions, that's for the chicken I cooked earlier. You're going to beat these, and these are going to go in way later through the recipe, but I like to have all this ready so I'm ready to go. I had to put some gloves on because my skin was drying from all the hand washing, but as you guys can see, the quinoa sucked up all the water. So what you can do to make this fluffy, which is actually a really good recommendation, is grabbing some forks and fluffing it up. Just fluff it up. Oh, sorry. But you guys see all that? That's a lot of quinoa. Okay, now to make the fried quinoa. Medium skillet. I actually added a little bit to make sure it was hot, but you're gonna add at least 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil. Like I said, I use olive oil, and then you're gonna add your 3 eggs into it. See, that wasn't ready yet. I got ahead of it. And then you're gonna scramble this, maybe like so they're actually fully scrambled. So once the eggs are ready, you're gonna add the broccoli. You could actually cook this with cauliflower, but we love broccoli up in this house, so just mix it in there. Very well mixed, and then cook it for another minute. I had to add the quinoa, the cabbage, and the carrot off camera because, you guys, it's really hard to record and do things with one hand. But I added the cabbage, the carrot, and the soy sauce in there. I'm going to stir it, and you're going to cook it for about 1 minute, 2 minutes. Let it all cook in together. And then you can actually let this go for 5 minutes on the heat. Just lower it to low and let it cook together. Once those 5 minutes are up, you can taste this to see if it's good for you. If not, you can add more soy sauce. That's why I usually start off with 1, just to make sure that I don't go overboard. And you go from there, and then once those 5 minutes are up and you're happy with the taste, your quinoa is done. It looks like fried rice. I just tasted this and it needed a little bit more soy sauce, but this is done. As you guys can see, look how beautiful that is. It smells amazing in here. You can see the egg, you can see the cabbage, the carrot. This literally looks like regular rice, and it tastes amazing and is so healthy.